All right, I'm going to use the mill to put the holes in here, and it won't clamp in the vise very well, so it'd be easier if I can just clamp it down to the table there, but I need a sacrificial plate. So this one's been worked on a bit, but it's pretty stout. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come over it with a file and see how we're looking, make sure there isn't any bad warps or burrs sticking up that's going to, yeah, that'll work. Okay. So that way when I set it down on the table, it doesn't skew things. Everything, that all seems pretty good. Okay. Yeah, man. Kind of scared to go buy a good mill. Can't take care of a cheap one. What makes you think you're going to take any better care of a good one? Anyway, so now I got to set up some clamps and stuff like that and hold this down and try to do it, and then I've got to center it up and drill and blah blah blah. Alright, working on setting up the milling attachment adapter. I need to drill the holes in here. Now I need to drill 4 holes. Okay, I need the holes that are spaced exactly the same as the compound, so that'll bolt down to the cross slide. Then I need 2 more. Okay, and I got to look at the milling attachment to decide exactly where. But I've got enough room here that I can drill these 2, and I can go anywhere at an angle all the way up to 90 degrees from it. Okay, so I'm going to put the clamps out here at this angle. Now when you're setting the clamp there, you want to make sure it's flat. You put that under and then raise it up to the next step, because you want it at a slight downhill angle. Flat's better, but you don't want it tilting away. But this doesn't really have a finish that I need to worry about, because it's going to be underneath on the bottom. But if you have a finish you need to protect, you can always put a bit of shim under there and then do the same thing. Push it down flat and then make sure you're flat. And I'm going to put the bolt as close to this way as possible, because I get a whole lot more clamping force when it's toward this end than this end. And that one's still set. We'll turn it a little bit more here, get it over that. Okay, so I think we're okay. Get these gootin' snug, gootin' tight. Yeah, so now I can do the center finding, and I can at least measure and drill the first 2 holes. Then I got to figure out the milling attachment holes. Okay, I'm getting ready to, still working on the setup here. Now this is what's called a wobbly. It's polished smooth and that stuff, and it's held in there with a spring to another end. The other side's got a cone, so you just want to knock it off center there, and then when you start it up, it wobbles until you touch it to the contact point. And now here's something here. When I'm trying to find the center of a round, okay, and I've got this all the way down because that's so short, but I need it because of the round column. I can't move it once I've found center. If I try to raise this thing up, I'm not on center anymore. The whole round column shifts. So what I did was I put the quill all the way down, put this in, set the height of my milling head so that I'm just above it here. Now when I let this all the way back up, I can get a drill bit in there and be able to drill the holes I need. So anyway, keep in mind that I don't necessarily have to find perfect center this way while I'm finding center this way, okay? Because as I come up and read there, when I lift this up and move all the way to the other side, when I come and touch on the other side, I am at exactly the same point on the circle across from it. So even though I'm not at the apex, the widest part, I'm at the exact same part of the arc. And so I could actually touch off there. So you don't have to worry about, do you find perfect center here? Now, if this was traveling at an angle, a whole different story kind of thing. But since it is traveling perfectly parallel, inline, however you want to call it, transverse, whatever, I don't know. I can touch off either point without having to be perfectly in the middle. Now I'm going to, just for accuracy, I'm going to try to get it fairly close to center. You know, I'll put the wobbly there, and then I'll just eyeball it over that hole. And that's pretty close. And so now I can come over here, I can knock my wobbly off, I can go ahead and put it back down where I had it and start it. You don't need it spinning real fast. You don't need it spinning real slow either. Let's see if I can hold that, keep it quiet. So if you can see it wobbling, let's, ooh, no, oh, the battery's about to die, yay! Alright, that's zoomed in, whoa, nice. About as far as we can go. So when I take it over, see how it just broke there? Okay, it's spinning perfect right there, in line. So I'm turning it really slow, and just as soon as it starts to break, I know that I'm getting enough traction, I'm rubbing there, and it's pushed it out of the way. So I'm going to hit, I'm going to zero out my DRO. I'm going to raise this up enough. I'm going to come over to the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing. Okay. So I'm wobbling. Comes back in. Basically spinning perfect. Dang, that's annoying. Gotta put some more tape on. And I just crept off. So let me go ahead and shut that down now. It says I'm 1.7824 across. Now that includes the thickness, because I went from one side of this to the other, and I don't remember exactly how thick that is. 200 thousandths, I think. I don't care. What I'm going to do is I can do half X. Well, let me change the battery and go from there. All right, so here's my reading on the DRO. Okay, that was the total distance across the standoff, the boss there. I want to find center, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit half axis X. Automatically divides it in half for me, so I can now just dial to 0. Okay, and that's certainly close enough. And let's see if we can swing over here and okay, that's yeah, the wobbly's not centered, so from where it's sitting, that should be dead center in the center there. I'll double check it again, kind of thing, before I when I'm done with the other. So now I'm going to do the y-axis. Same way, I'm going to touch off here, then divide it in half, and then go back to 0, and that puts me in the middle. Alright, so right down on the side here, there's a more or less a set screw. So I've locked the y-axis so it can't move this way, shouldn't move this way, because all I want to do is be able to move this way. So I didn't lock those. Now, I have it back on 0, and here you go. That drill runs right down into the center there without touching any sides, anything like that. So this is slightly undersized for the size I want. And actually, this is just for example. I'm going to get a center drill first and drill the holes when I get the dimension figured out here first. Okay, I've got I figured up the bolt holes and that stuff, and basically it works out to 1.913 in each direction. So let's move it over there. 1.85. Now I'm going to turn this on before I do the last part, because every time everything seems to jump and shake when you first start it up, it seems to throw it off a hair. So I like, if I remember, I tend to start it before I do my final set with the DRO. It shouldn't do that, but you know, it does. Now I've got aluminum there, but this is a step, well, you know, as long as I got aluminum, I know I'm through. And I don't want to go through so far that I drill into the deck. I've already got one of those pock marks in here, maybe two. You know, they're beginner scars. Okay, so now I can take this and I could move it all the way over, or I could change drill bits right now and go ahead and drill that one while it's there. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll just put it back at where it's supposed to be, and I'll drill that. Then I'll move from here. I'll go a negative 1.913. Drill that with the first one, and then drill it with the final hole, and then I'll probably take it out, test fit it, and do a final decision as to where I want my other holes, because I might have to clamp it in a different location. All right, well, this is where we're sitting right now. I don't have that tapped in or anything, but look at that. That is beautiful. I'm liking that. We got just thread sticking out there just enough. I'm going to have to look at getting new bolts. I can tell that one's been stretched. Oh, anyway, I thought I'd, you can kind of see that, yeah, it goes on there, but I'm a good quarter-inch away. The bolt is actually lining up right under that bridge there. So it'll be easy enough to notch that out and put the nut on and that kind of stuff, but I've got to come up and drill and tap into the bottom here. I might possibly line them up so they come up under these supports here. Put two back here and one in the front, because all of the twist and the load is going to be, you know, pulling it like that or pushing it back. Either way, the front one's going to have less load, because that's where all the weight's sitting at and everything like that. So I might do that. I got to figure that out. All right, I'm going to cheat a little bit on the center finding here. I've got the quill set up so it drops with the arm. And I've already checked to make sure I've got enough travel both directions. So I'm going to, because I don't necessarily need this critical. So what I did was I put in a 1/2-inch 4-flute cutter, and I should be able to should be able to find oh, there we go, see that? Yeah. And then I'll walk the controls around a little bit. Till I don't really feel any drag. 0. I found center. Now I can move out of the way and change this to what I want and go from there. All right, I've been taking end mills, each next size up, and this is cast iron, so it's really soft. Cut it dry, and I've been just cutting those out. And yes, this is clamped in here very precariously, so I'm doing it very gently. Let me back up a bit, and you'll see this is quite a reach. I'm breaking a sweat just trying to change the stupid bits. Yeah, so here's the thing. I've got the mill all the way at the top to get the clearance, because I need to be able to put a longer drill bit in here and stuff after this, but I need it to stay centered, so once I clamped it down I couldn't move it. So in order for me to change these, I mean, I'm basically up at the top of my reach there. So yeah, it's ugh. So let's punch another one while we're here. Yeah, that's what I thought. That cutter's pretty much toast. Oh well, should get me through the next one, and then on to the 3/4, which is where I want to stop anyway. So we'll go from there. Yeah, holy cow. What a pain in the rear. Okay. I covered this up because I don't really want the abrasive wheel and the cast iron covering everything. I also put a end mill back in here so I wouldn't throw debris up inside the thing there. So now what I'm doing is I'm cutting it from this way so that it pushes it down. If I came from this way, it'd be throwing it up in my face. So it's a little bit more precarious, but basically what I'm doing is the tits that were left there from when I punched the last 3/4 inch end mill in, rather than try to mill those off because this really isn't all that solid, I'm cutting off the majority of it. Now I can just go back and kind of shave it off a little bit until I get the edge I want. So that's what I'm doing. You know, and that's probably close enough there, but it's in the mill, so I'm going to go ahead and drop the 1/2 inch down here and shave it a little bit. Oh yeah, it just pokes through. So anyway, I guess it's running, might as well. Oh, gotta take this off. Man, and do not follow this example. This is keep waiting for a bit to break off and fly in my face. Get the idea there. Let's back this up just a little bit here. Okay, so I've got the slots done. I think you can just make them out there. Drop the 1/2 inch down here, 1/2 inch end mill cutter, and just lightly kept scraping them until they came out. So now that registers perfectly in there. What I want to do is I want to get this centered. So I've put a couple of nuts and bolts in here that take the 1/2 inch socket that goes on the other, and see, that takes up all the slop there basically. So basically I'm just going to rotate it back and forth until it's kind of in the middle there. I already at least I thought I did set up the vise. There we go, or the clamp rather. Okay, so let's put that clamp on kind of snug. Let's take a look here. Yeah, it looks like it's still centered. The other one, yeah, it still rocks back and forth there, so let's put a clamp on that side. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to clamp these pretty tight. And next up on the agenda then is to find where I want to drill my 4 holes. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take whatever I'm going to drill a pilot hole. I'm probably going to put use like a center drill or something like that and put a spot drill mark down. Then I'll drill a pilot hole. Then I'll drill the sizing hole for the to be able to tap the threads in the milling attachment, and I'll drill it deep enough to do that. Then I'll come back. I don't necessarily have to have this on here. I could drill pass-throughs and counterbores. But what I'll do is I'll save a spot in the SDM memory, subdatum memory, on the DRO for each of the 4 positions I pick. They don't necessarily have to be a perfect square or anything like that. They'll be fairly close, but I just can't have this move in the middle of drilling. So if I drill the 4 pilot holes, I'm good to go. I could actually go back and drill everything by hand after that, but I won't. So anyway, oh man, these long days are killing me.